In tonight's headlines, the National People's Congress concludes its annual session in Beijing, with officials hailing it a success. Lawmakers continue their marathon vetting of Article 23 legislation and focus on extending detention time for national security suspects. And the film Oppenheimer sweeps the Oscars with 7 honors, including Best Picture.
China's annual parliamentary session has ended after a week of meetings in the Great Hall of the People in Beijing. President Xi Jinping, Premier Li Qiang, and Wang Huning, who chairs the top political advisory body, the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, were among those at the closing ceremony this afternoon. Delegates approved 7 items, including Premier Li's first work report. All but 5 of the 2,900 delegates voted in favor. 2 voted against and 3 abstained. The parliament also passed an amendment to the State Council Organic Law, the first in more than 40 years. Only 17 delegates did not vote in favor. The amendment allows the Communist Party to have more control over the executive body led by the premier.
圆满完成了各项议程。
NPC Standing Committee Chairman Zhao Leji declared the meeting a success, saying it showcased the unification of the people's will. For the past 3 decades, the session ended with a news conference by the premier, but the practice was scrapped this year and for the next 3 years. Janice Low, Cable News. Scrutiny of the domestic national security legislation under Article 23 continued for the 4th straight day, with the Bills Committee looking at how long suspects can be detained. The draft legislation proposes that those arrested for national security offenses be held for up to 16 days, up from the current maximum of 48 hours. Stanley Ng from the Federation of Trade Unions suggested a longer period, saying it will not be sufficient for police to complete an investigation within 16 days because national security cases are complex. But Security Minister Chris Tang emphasized the need to strike a balance between investigations and human rights protection.
We've had the national security law in place, and our experience is that we believe 14 days should be sufficient. In the past, we only had 48 hours, and within 48 hours we were unable to prosecute the arrested persons, so we allowed them to take bail, and then some jumped bail and absconded. If we could extend it to 14 days, we believe we could avoid that, because 14 days should be sufficient for us to decide whether there is evidence to prosecute someone.
Customs officers have made their biggest seizure of cannabis buds. They raided a warehouse in the New Territories and confiscated 570 kilograms of the item worth $115 million. The cannabis buds were found in 145 cartons. After further investigation, officers detained a man who said he was the owner of a logistics company. Further arrests have not been ruled out. The Customs Department said it has heightened efforts to stop cannabis from entering the city through all routes. In the first 2 months of this year, almost 800 kilograms of suspected cannabis were seized.
A couple remained in custody after appearing in Fanling Magistracy following the discovery of the bodies of 2 infants in glass cylinders in a Tuen Mun flat. The gruesome incident came to light when a cleaner found the remains and alerted police last Friday. Lam Ti Hon and Chow Ying-hwa are accused of preventing the burial of a baby boy in Tin Shui Wai back in 2022 and another male infant in Tuen Mun last year. Magistrate Kenneth Chan adjourned the case to June 3rd. DNA and medical tests will be carried out to determine the cause of the infant's death. Lam and Chow did not apply for bail and remain remanded until next Tuesday when they can seek bail.
As Palestinians began observing the holy month of Ramadan, the death toll from the continuing Israeli onslaught in Gaza climbed above 31,000. With no sign of a ceasefire, the 1.5 million Palestinians sheltering in the southernmost city of Rafah are bracing for an Israeli offensive. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu plans to attack Rafah, despite US President Joe Biden warning that doing so would cross a red line.
But he must pay more attention to the innocent lives being lost as a consequence of the actions taken. He's hurting, in my view, he's hurting Israel more than helping Israel by making the rest of the world, it's contrary to what Israel stands for. And I think it's a big mistake. So I want to see a ceasefire.
Netanyahu rejected the claim that his actions are hurting Israel, saying most Israelis support his policies. Biden also warned his ally to be careful, pointing to what happened when Washington pursued Osama bin Laden after the 9/11 terrorist attacks.
America made a mistake. We went after bin Laden until we got him. But we shouldn't have gone into Ukraine. I mean, we shouldn't have gone into the whole thing in Iraq and Afghanistan. It wasn't necessary. It wasn't necessary. It just caused more problems than it's clearly cured.
Ukraine has criticized Pope Francis for suggesting that it negotiate an end to its war with Russia. The Roman Catholic leader said Kyiv should have, in his words, the courage to raise the white flag. Ukraine's foreign minister responded that its flag is yellow and blue, and it would never fly a flag of any other color. The Vatican clarified that the pontiff didn't mean Ukraine should surrender, but was pressing for a diplomatic solution to the war that is now in its third year. Despite a massive inflow of military aid from the West, Ukraine is on the back foot, with Russia making more territorial gains in recent weeks.
People protesting against Israel's offensive in Gaza demonstrated outside the Dolby Theatre in Hollywood before the start of this year's Academy Awards. Police barricaded the pavement and the glittering ceremony in Los Angeles started 5 minutes late. As expected, Cillian Murphy won the Best Actor for Oppenheimer, the blockbuster biopic about the man credited as the father of the atomic bomb.
Thank you to the Academy, Chris Nolan and Emma Thomas. It's been the wildest, most exhilarating, most creatively satisfying journey you've taken me on over the last 20 years. I owe you more than I can say.
Robert Downey Jr. accepted the award for the Best Supporting Actor.
Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer.
Nolan took the Best Director award for Oppenheimer.
And the incredible Emma Thomas, producer of all our films and all our children. I love you.
In all, Oppenheimer took home 7 awards, including Best Picture.
The reason this movie was the movie that it was Chris Nolan. He is singular, he is brilliant, and I'm so grateful to you.
Davine Joy Randolph won the Best Supporting Actress for her role in The Holdovers.
I am so grateful to all you beautiful people out here. For so long, I've always wanted to be different. And now I realize I just need to be myself.
Emma Stone won her second Best Actress Oscar, this time for her role in Poor Things.
And I am so deeply honored to share this with every cast member, with every crew member, with every single person who poured their love and their care and their brilliance into the making of this film.
English director Jonathan Glazer's Zone of Interest was chosen as Best International Feature Film.
Right now, we stand here as men who refute their Jewishness and the Holocaust being hijacked by an occupation which has led to conflict for so many innocent people. Whether the victims of October the... Whether the victims of October the 7th in Israel or the ongoing attack on Gaza.
Signs that demand is picking up on the mainland boosted investor sentiment in Hong Kong as the stock market began the week on a winning note. Data released on Saturday showed that consumer prices in China climbed in February, ending months of decline that stretched back to last August. This gave retailers a boost, with Chow Tai Fook gaining 3.3% on the back of rising gold prices. Market favorites made big advances. Meituan jumped 5.3%, while JD.com was up 6.4%. After dropping 1.4% last week, the Hang Seng Index reversed course and ended the day higher by the same percentage.